Guys, welcome to the James Bond Show. This episode is brought to you by Idris Elba's Tears. Ooh, ooh. Thank you very much, Idris. Your tears are our sponsor. Okay, guys, so no fears, no limits, no substitutes. Krazy Kajeevie is coming back at you. This is the second part of our 5-minute film review. Quickie! Alright, quickie. We all love a quickie. Okay, so guys, quick James Bond review of From Russia with Love. Let's belt through this because I got 5 minutes. Apologies about yesterday. Apparently it was 7 minutes. Ooh, you'll get over it. Okay, guys, so the budget was $2 million for From Russia with Love. It was released, I believe from memory, 10th of October 1963, almost exactly a year plus 5 days after the release of Dr. No. The budget was, the $2 million budget was fantastic. It was $1 million more than From Russia with Love, enough to really bring the film up, and it made $20 million more than Dr. No at the box office. So it was about $79 million, $79.5 million at the box office. So on $2 million, it was a great hit. Okay, what is the story? So Spectre put into place by Kronstein, one of their sneaky little agents, a plan to trap James Bond because of the death of Dr. No. So this is kind of a revenge thing. And again, like Dr. No, the plot here isn't huge. It's very simple. So the Russians basically use a lady named Tatiana Romanova, played by Daniela Bianchi, and they use her. She sends a letter, or they send a letter to James Bond saying, oh, you know, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And she's got a electric decoding machine. Of course, it's a trap. James Bond, played incredibly by Sean Connery. I'll get to more of that later. And Bernard Lee playing M. They realise it's a trap. James Bond goes off on an adventure, ends up in Istanbul, meets up with Karen Bay, played by the late Pedro Armendáriz. Pedro Armendáriz was very sick with cancer during filming, and sadly, while filming was still going on after he had shot his scenes, he was in hospital. He had his family, one of his family members, smuggle a gun into the hospital, and, well, let's just say he took a family portrait of his set with it. Woo! Woo! Okay, gone. So, very sad, and he's brilliant as Karen Bay. Definitely one of James Bond's best friends along in his adventures. He's so good. Okay, so James Bond meets up with Tatiana Romanova. She ends up kind of falling in love with him, really falling in love with him. The film has absolute classic scenes, like where Bond's recording everything she's saying on a camera, which has got a little hidden device in it. So that was, again, another push of the gadgets coming into the film. And of course, speaking of gadgets, the great, the amazing Desmond Llewellyn makes his debut as Q, Major Boothroyd, here in From Russia with Love, with the famous attaché case with knife, gold sovereigns, coins, and an exploding gas canister for anyone that opens the case the wrong way. And Desmond Llewellyn is fantastic in this, but here he's playing it serious, and there's a reason why he plays it serious here compared to the jokey, more jokey kind of fun Q in, or fun serious Q in Goldfinger, and I'll get to that in tomorrow's review of Goldfinger. So Robert Shaw plays Red Grant. He is an assassin, basically used by Spectre, Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge and Extortion. And he's used by Rosa Klebb, played by Lot Lenya. And they sent him to basically see that the Lecter ends up in Bond's hands, and he's always in the shadows, and he doesn't talk until the latter parts of the film. So Bond ends up with the Lecter and Tatiana, and they're on the train on the Orient Express, somewhere in there. Apparently, along the line is Ian Fleming's cameo. If you can find it, let me know in the comments below, because we'd all still love to see where the great Ian Fleming is, apparently hidden within this film somewhere. Could be like Jimmy Hoffa's body. No one's ever going to find it. Hey. So Red Grant ends up on the train. He's pretending to be Agent Nash. Of course, he gets found out later because the scumbag drinks red wine with fish, loser, and he and Bond end up getting in a classic fight. It is the classic fight scene, probably not only in the James Bond films, but cinema history. The lights go off, real blue kind of lighting is done by, I believe it was Ted Moore, the cinematographer, and the film once again is directed stunningly, especially this fight scene, by Terence Young, who's back from Dr. No, and he's here with all his talent, and the cinematography is absolutely delicious in this. It's really, really good. Okay, so Bond ends up, well, sorry, but having a little bit of a fisticuffs. If you haven't seen From Russia Love, I don't want to say too much, but I'm going to give a spoiler away. Bond ends up in the next film, Red Grant doesn't, so you might know who wins the fight. Okay, he ends up with Red Grant's little wee watch that strangles people. The film is pound pulsing in parts. It's older school action, but it's still pretty decent action for back in the day. We are talking 1963, and they shot this film so fast after Dr. No. The film was riddled with production problems, not as bad as Bond 25, and through this, with editor Peter Hunt trying to work out how to edit the film, he kind of accidentally came up with the first ever PTS, the pre-title sequence. So because he didn't know where to fit the scene of strangling, well, at the start where Red Grant strangles a fake James Bond, he ended up putting it right at the start of the film after the gun barrel. And incidentally, that is not Sean Connery in the gun barrel, that is stuntman Bob Simmons. So that is how the PTS came to be. Also, during filming, Terence Young, when they were setting up to film the boat chase scene at the end, Terence Young's helicopter crashed into a lake. He and the crew in there almost died. There was basically a bubble inside the helicopter, and they were like this, like trying to breathe, like kind of like how SJWs go along during their daily life breathing. Bunch of parasites. But anyway, I digress. So he survived that. He gets up an hour later. He's got some cuts and whatever. An hour later, he's back to filming. Terence Young, I salute you, champion. Okay, the movie is great. It's an absolute classic. On my Facebook page, Real James Bond Fans Would Love, I was doing a favourite countdown. I put this film back further. It's not because I don't love it. It is a great film. It is one of the definitive best Bond films. It's a masterpiece when it comes to James Bond. But it's just one of my least favourites because it does seem to stretch more than its runtime. And I just prefer films that are a bit faster paced. But as far as espionage and being so faithful to Ian Fleming, this is incredible. Guys, leave comments below. Let us know what you thought of this review. Share it around with your friends, and we'll be back tomorrow with my third review, Goldfinger. Until then, keep on bonding.